So first of all, thank you for Isabel and all the team here to put this in place. I'm very enthusiastic with this opportunity to promote the University of Coimbra, especially to host new area shareholders and to develop different scientific research areas that we should invest. So this is the idea. And for all of you that are here, that already contact colleagues to come to the University of Coimbra to promote one area. So thank you so much for your commitment, and I hope that we can reach the end. For the others that will listen to us after, also thank you, and also I'd like to acknowledge the colleagues that would like to come to Coimbra to develop this area. So we have different areas here, but with I hope this will be a fantastic way of promoting the research and to promote our university and to get the university to another level in different areas. So this is the aim of the area share, is to promote and to have more researchers here. So with no further delays, so Isabel now.
So now I give the screen to Helena Mendes and Silvia Matias from the Research Management Service of the University of Coimbra, SPGI and DAPI. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Isabel. I will share a presentation that I prepared with Silvia about the call. I have to share it. So where do I, here. Okay. Is it now on the screen for you all?
Yes, okay. Please just put on this the presentation mode.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So briefly, I will go through the call, and I will go not through the calls, through the main objectives of the call, and then Silvia will have details about the administrative and budgets preparation and the application preparation. So area chair, it's supposed to attract the best researchers. It's a measure for brain gain, as we say nowadays. And as we all know by now, it's in any scientific domain. Anyway, any scientific domain, it's not to take really like that. You should think about the scientific domain. Does it matter for the host institution? Is it relevant for the host institution? Is there capacity for that domain? It's not a very different, or are the conditions to attract that team and that person so demanding that the application will seem too impossible to accomplish. So one should reflect about this scientific domain. Anyway, it is possible in any scientific domain. And then one third issue, it's the sustainable manner of the application. You should also think about what will happen after the funding period. As you all know by now, the work program talks about positions after the funding periods, positions in the host institution, at least for the PI who can or not be the area chairholder. So you should discuss that with the host institution. Area chairholder must be someone, the area chairholder must be someone who is recognized as an excellent researcher. He or she is expected to establish his own team and have autonomy. And as the work program says, area chairholder must have and can have a position in the organization. And this position at the host institution that will host the project, the area chair project, this position can even be as a, I would say as a teacher. So the area chairholder can have teaching duties. It's a different from the previous area chair applications in the H 2020. And so what is important here is to think about if it is interesting for the area chairholder to be hired as a professor and then have also teaching duties, or only, I'm sorry about the only, but only for research activities. Of course, there is also the possibility of this area chairholder have a position, not a real position or a full-time position, but second, as you all know, and Sylvia will talk about it in a few minutes. So the team is expected to be a high quality team, and all the resources will be under the direction of the area chairholder. It is expected they will make difference. They will make a difference in the host institution, of course, in a certain domain, but also it is not also, only a matter of thinking about what will be the differences that this team and the area chairholder will have in the or within the host institution, but it is also a matter of looking inside the host institution and see what is the research capacity, I mean, in terms of infrastructures and facilities and other projects that are running, and how can you somehow match with your application, the application you are working on. So it would be, I think, a positive point to try to see if it can match with the research capacity that is already in the host institution. So the expected outcomes for such an application, of course, it's on the research excellence and the performance of the host institution, and that this team will make a difference on the research excellence. With that, the host institution may increase its attractiveness and be a solution or a host institution that other researchers would apply for. Of course, there is the issue about this creation of a permanent and excellent research group, at least if not a permanent group, at least one permanent position, as the work program says, about the PI of this team, who can be or not the area chairholder. And with these activities and these projects, of course, one also expected that the capacity of attracting other fundings through these teaming activities will also be improved. And of course, this team will contribute to the knowledge-based economy and society issues that the application itself wants to address. Now it's with Sylvia. I have to...
We'll stop sharing and I will...
Okay, Sylvia.
Okay, so I will share mine. Do you see my screen?
Yes, now I see it.
Yes.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so regarding the ERA chair recruitment, the call says that the ERA chair holders, they might move on a temporary or permanent basis to the coordinator's premises. And to this end, different legal arrangements, secondments may be acceptable, including part-time work and multiple stays. It is important to say that the University of Coimbra can recruit part-time researchers, invited researchers, but if we hire through the professor's career, we cannot recruit part-time because people recruited through the higher education research career is recruited to teaching duties only. So as this position aims also to support the development of the research capacity, if we are thinking on a part-time dedication, probably it will be best to use the invited researcher possibility. The position to be occupied by the ERA chairholder should allow him or her and corresponding team the autonomy to constitute the team, to develop the research in that area. And the ERA chairs the candidates can be of any nationality. Regarding the team, the composition, the levels of remuneration, and the timeline of implementation of the ERA chairholder research team must be detailed in the proposal. And there is a rule regarding the team members. So no more than 50% of the team members appointed can have previous contractual links with the coordinators. So the teams to be recruited, at least half of the team must be composed by people without previous contractual links with the university. Also, there is a worry regarding the sustainability of this research team. So the ERA chair research team should have conditions to thrive after the end of the Horizon Europe funding. And this should also be clearly demonstrated in the proposal. And another condition is that the appointment of the leader of the newly created research group must be recruited on a permanent basis within the coordinator organization. The proposal is submitted jointly with the ERA chair holder, and then this ERA chair holder will constitute the research team, including a team leader that can or not be the ERA chair holder. Also, the European Commission will monitor the recruitment procedure. So this must be an open recruitment procedure according to the European Commission rules that will be better developed at the grant agreement preparation stage. In terms of budget, this call funds projects as coordination and support actions. The maximum funding will be 2.5 million euros to projects with a duration up to 5 years. The funding rate will be 100% of the total estimated eligible budget. And the European Commission expects that the budget is constituted by the salaries of the ERA chair and his or her team, as well as other costs, including recruitment costs, administrative costs, travel and subsistence, training, etc. Also, this call as an exception to the general model of funding, because although this is a coordination and support action, we can also include in the budget research costs up to 10% of the EU contribution. And these research costs may include laboratory consumables, some equipment too, although equipment is funding only according to the depreciation rate applicable. As I will further develop, the proposal may be submitted only by the coordinator or jointly with the coordinating institution and the employer, the current employer of the ERA shareholder. And if this is the case, the partner institution will sign also the grant agreement and may also claim costs under the project, mainly linked to second the ERA shareholder to the coordinator. Also, the European Commission expects that the grant provides a contribution towards measures that are aimed at facilitating structural changes in the institution. Costs for training, meetings, publication, managing intellectual property rights, those costs will actually constitute a capacity reinforcement, so capacity building of the coordinator institution. The application regarding the eligibility rules, the coordinator institution must be a research organization located in a widening country and submits the proposal jointly with the ERA shareholder. This proposal, as I've said, may be submitted only by the coordinating institution as a single applicant or jointly with the legal entity that currently employs the future ERA chair. The partner institution, if this is the case, will have to sign the grant agreement. This possibility of a unique or joint application must be decided, especially regarding the type of recruitment foreseen for the future ERA shareholder, because if we think in a model that the current employer of the ERA chair will second him to be part of the year, for instance, at the University of Coimbra, in that scenario, probably we will need to follow a joint application with that institution. Partner institutions can be located in any country of the world except the country of the coordinator, and ERA shareholders can be citizens of any nationality too in any country in the world. Regarding the application itself, this is the standard application procedure of the Horizon Europe, and generally the same one already used in Horizon 2020. So the submission takes place at the Funding and Tenders portal, going to the area with the call description. At the bottom of the page, we have a place a link to start the submission. Then the proposal itself is composed by two parts. Part A is directly filled in the system, in the Funding and Portal system. You will need the University of Coimbra PIC. This is a number most of you probably already have, and if applicable, also the partner institution. Part B is prepared using the templates available at the proposal submission area, and then are uploaded to the system as a PDF as an additional document. Also, the proposals must include a CV in Europass form for the future ERA shareholder, uploaded as an additional document. and also letters of commitment both for the coordinating institution and the ERA chairholder, and these two documents to be included in Part B under Section 3.2. But you don't need to worry with these details. DAPI will help you when supporting your application. Will also remember you from about these details. And that's it. It's a small presentation. If you have now, I will stop sharing, and I'm open for your questions. I stay at your disposal.
Thank you so much.
We can have some questions and try to clarify.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a couple of questions, but actually Jose is raising his hand, so if you want to go, you can go. I can wait.
No, I think you start speaking first, but I can also go if you prefer. It doesn't matter.
So I'll go then. Thank you again for the presentation. I have a couple of questions regarding, well, first of all, we are saying that we allow the HERA shareholder to be at 50%. If I'm not mistaken, 50% corresponds to at the index of 285 for professor. It corresponds to 1,500 euros per month. This is before taxes. Now, I wonder who, at the level of expertise that we want an share to be, who is coming to any place in the world for 1,500 euros that in the end is going to be 1,000 euros. I don't know. I mean, I would say no one. I would say no one. At the level at which we're saying. So the first question, what can we do about this? Given it's possible, it's just impossible. It's just impossible. I can say jokingly that I would prefer to open a bolsa and just top up the bolsa to 2,000 euros, and it would be much better than getting 1,000 euros per month. Come on. We have to think about this clearly and see what is the possibility. What are the possibilities that we can do? Okay. So this is one question. How are we supposed to attract anyone if there's no chances of top up? Number two, and related with this, is every project has margins, I imagine, or these kinds of projects have margins. If they have margins, one, are these margins available immediately? Part of them, I know there's a top up, there's a maximum percentage of the margin that can be available immediately. And if they are available immediately, can we use those margins to the obvious response to the answer that I first asked, which is top up? So the only way we can attract people is to top up their salaries and say, look, you're here at 50%, but we're giving you the as much as we can to make it reasonable. I mean, I think we're trying to attract people from the US, from England, from countries where the salaries are already way up there, and we have to be minimally competitive. So that's in terms of, another question is, if people are here 50%, then they're going to be traveling back and forth. They're not traveling for conferences, they're traveling to come here back and forth. So one of the questions is, can we use the research money to support the travels that the HERA shareholder, I'm just talking about the holder, not the team, the holder, whether the HERA shareholder is going to make. So if it's going to be 50% here, it's going to be traveling back and forth. Can that be research money? And I imagine it could be missions. It cannot be, because there are conferences, but I think they could be missions, but there has to be explained whether that could be the case or not. And the final thing is, sorry for the time, when you say it's expected that they teach, do you want to say it's expected that they teach or they can teach? So two different things. If it's expected that they teach, then it means that we have to tell them, look, you should teach because that's actually positive for our application. If it's just, look, if they want to teach, if that's important for the grant, for the proposal, that's a different story. It depends on whether we think it's important for the proposal or not. And again, thank you.
Okay.
I don't know if I might start to
Okay.
answer, or if Professora Cláudia, can I start? Yeah. So, first question: air shareholder with a contract, a 50% contract, a research position with 50% contract. If someone is with a 50% contract, it means, or it can mean, that he can still be hired in any part of the world. Okay? So, this is not a solution, but that might appear candidates for air shareholder who won't be able to stay in Portugal with a full position, because only within Europe, we could talk about United States, Japan, only within Europe, even in Europe, if we compare ourselves with positions in France or Germany or United Kingdom, the available salaries that the Portuguese legislation, allows won't be equal, not even close to the ones that are there. So it might appear a solution that these research positions with 50% of the time would be the solution to mitigate this difference, salaries difference between Portugal and other countries, only in Europe. If we take other countries, it would be worse. So that's a point. The second point is top-ups have also a rule, a legislation. Top-ups cannot be used or given, or there is a legislation, and it's a very careful rule, that rule of top-ups to when we are speaking about someone hired under a work contract. So I won't say now it is not possible. We have to see case by case, but yes, I will confirm that the scenario that you were speaking about, it's not so attractive if we speak about the conditions that are given by laws and Portuguese rules. But we can try to mitigate it case by case and see if it is real. It will be really possible to apply, for instance, to top up. About margins, I cannot answer. It's a case of asking, make the scenario, and it's about a special requests in each project. You know, with the running projects, we have to ask, and it's not only about ask, it's explain why we need that money, for what, in what terms that money will impact and will have a good impact. And so the one who will decide it would have to make that balance and liberate margins and the good impacts for the research itself and for the project itself. About travel, third question, travel. I would say that the money that is expected to be spent with travel would be for the project itself. I mean, conferences, meetings, but as you say, it is a problem, and maybe we have to ask and to confirm that someone who is on a 50% contract, a 50% situation, not in full contract, it is expected to travel, yes, and so we have to check that with the commission. And the fourth, I don't remember. I wrote a word,
Teaching.
but now I don't.
Teaching.
Sorry?
The
Okay,
teaching.
teaching, yes, teaching. Expected teaching duties. When I read that part of work program, you can also organize the application thinking that the area shareholder will have a teaching contract. With a full teaching contract, Sylvia has explained that a partially teaching contract won't be applicable, but with a full teaching contract, in the Portuguese rules and basically in Portuguese rules, sorry, that person can have research activities and teaching activities. So in that case, the person, it is expected to have teaching duties, yes, with a teaching contract, in a full-time teaching contract. In the other way, with a research contract, a full research contract, he or her might also have the teaching, might have. It's not expected, it's not obliged to, so might have, okay, teaching duties. I think at this point, especially at this point, when we are preparing the applications, it's a sort of negotiation with the area shareholders and what are their expectations, what is the better solution. But I don't have here the whole solution. I recognize. Sylvia, do you want to? Is there anything else?
Yes,
to?
I would like just to add two possibilities or another possibility. The call actually allows us to have the area chair seconded. So this means that we won't hire him. His current employer, I don't know if this is possible, but it's an option. The current employer can integrate the proposal and consider in the budget the actual costs corresponding to the dedication to the project. So if someone is coming with a dedication of 50%, a possibility is that it remains paid by his host institution, and the European Commission reimburses the host institution directly for
Sorry, Sylvia, is there a limit
for this
to
cost?
That? Is there a limit to that? Because, for instance, in the US, these guys could be getting 250,000 euros per year.
Yes,
And
I don't know.
50% is a lot of money.
But if this is an interesting option, we can pose it to the European Commission.
That's a very interesting possibility, but it can be a super expensive one, given that they can be getting 200. It would be easier for us to top up the salary, but fine. That's a different story. But fine. That's. I think that actually could be an interesting way of putting this.
And there is another. I am having here another idea. The European Commission is quite flexible on the contractual arrangements for involving the area shareholder. So maybe, although he will have a 50% dedication along the project, maybe couldn't we have multiple contracts when coming here with I don't know, a full-time exclusive? So instead of one contract, having several, I don't know if this would be a possibility. So people were coming and we had a contract.
Sorry, I don't know if other people understood. I didn't. Are you suggesting that they can have an exclusivity contract here, 100%, and at the same time, a contract in, say, the US? Is that what you're suggesting? Because I think that's impossible, that's illegal.
So yes.
Okay,
But at least a
fantastic.
at least a full-time equivalent.
Oh, so non-exclusivity, but so
Yes,
partial
but
is
still
full-time.
full-time.
Is that possible? If that's possible, that again
if the person is here, I would say that, but
because then we're talking about 3,000 euros per month, 3,100 euros per month, which is slightly better.
yes.
By the way, again, I'm very sorry, you're going to be 1 minute. Elena, the problem is not that they're getting money elsewhere. The problem is we're asking them to get money elsewhere and then come here. And 1,000 euros, as you know, is not enough to support trips and stay. So that's the issue. The issue is not, I understand they're getting money in the US or whatever they are, but 1,000 euros per month is not enough. And people are not going to wait, and they're not going to lose money coming here. That's the only issue. But this, so what Sylvia was saying, the two options are interesting. The first one could be super expensive, but obviously more attractive.
I will gather more information. I will contact the European Commission on that.
Can we go to the next two questions? Professor José Oliveira Martins.
Well, thanks so much. Well, many of the questions that I had were already being answered, so thank you, George, for that. I'm much less acquainted with the call and the applications, so but I just to emphasize this point that we're talking about of the salaries. I mean, I'm thinking about a full professor at Yale that probably, I don't know, but he must make around 150 or 200,000 a year, and yes, of course, then we. I'm not sure how one can attract this type of people with the arrangements that we heard. But my question was more of a scientific aspect, which is, so there is the figure, and sorry that I'm still not very well acquainted with this. So there's the figure of coordinator and there's the figure of holder. And I'm just wondering, usually the application and the entire scientific thinking behind, is it usually made coordinated, so to speak, between the coordinator and the holder, or is it developed by the holder? And I'm just not sure what is the role of the coordinator and whether the coordinator needs to be someone based at Coimbra. I'd imagine so, but I wonder if you could talk a little more about what the roles of each are and how does the relationship between them works.
So if I can also answer. So
yes, I'm not sure. I was trying to see here these four, because I'm not sure. I think.
So the coordinator. So
I don't know if the coordinator and the ERA chairholder are different people. So
the coordinator is the host institution, so it's not a person.
Host, so it's not. Yeah, but sometimes it can be, because in the Horizon 2020 it was different. So there were two persons here, but I don't think this is the case now.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Isabel?
So we need to have one local coordinator and the other shareholder.
Yes.
But who develops the scientific project? It's the coordinator or together with the holder?
So for sure the holder has the expertise, but we should have someone to, of course, the other shareholder is the one that we want to attract, is more senior, more but of course it should be in contact with the local person at the institution.
Yeah, but I mean, we're asking. So I'm wondering. These applications must be quite time-consuming and energy driven, etc. And we're asking someone in advance to put a lot of effort into these applications, and so it will be really important to figure out what is the contractual deal once if these are successful, before we ask these people to make such type of commitment with us. So it would be really important to clarify that.
I would try to imagine a scenario, an application scenario. For instance, if the area shareholder is not here at full time, it's someone who comes by somehow with secondments in the secondment scheme. Maybe in that case, I don't know, maybe in that case, it seems that the team that he is supervising needs a local coordination, someone who is full-time and local coordination, sort of more experienced researcher who is full-time in the team and with a very close relation with this area shareholder, but he or her is only at with secondments. If the area shareholder is a full-time area shareholder, maybe it is not necessary to have that person, that's a more experienced researcher. But it's, anyway, this is an example because it's a matter of design a team, looking at what activities and what area we are trying to improve, and both solutions can appear.
Helena, so but the question is now is the application. So that the question of José Oliveira Martins was who should write the application. So of course, as you said, José, of course the area shareholder can help in some parts of the application, more specific, more scientific driven. Then so the area share local team should help to write the other. So you are not going to write everything. So, and of course we will be very happy that you can put together a team to help the application. But in your case specifically, of course, you are not going to ask the professor from here to write from this card. So we have to put a team together with Sage Vint and with the 3iiUC and the DAPI to help. So it's a team to write that. So we are going to use only the area shareholder to guide us and to, this is my point of view. So if you ask him, write this proposal, so we will, but of course we need them also to be involved. Did I answer correctly, Isabel?
Yes.
And meantime, I was checking the form, and yes, we need to have a local contact person who is the formal coordinator. So someone who interacts then with the European Commission during the grant preparation, during the submission, grant preparation, and grant management. So yes, someone local who takes care of the matter, but surely with support.
João Fernandes is in the space, so
Ele saiu agora mesmo.
Maybe we, if Professor doesn't come back, we can go through with the session and then we come back to his question.
Yes.
So now it's the part.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I was expecting for another round of questions because I have another. Sorry about that. If that's possible.
No, that's fine.
Team leader. So the team leader doesn't have to be the Hera chair. From what I understood, fantastic. Can it be someone from the UC? So it can be a professor already in the UC that applies as team leader. Is that possible?
Say it again.
So, okay, so the chair comes, he hires his team, his team, whatever it is. Fantastic. And then, if I understand correctly, we have to say or have whatever it is, that someone becomes a team leader, right? That team leader has to be within the hired team, or can it be someone like the coordinator that we're talking about before? Okay, that's one of the questions. Was it clear now?
I I think
Yeah,
the
go.
issue there is, are you expected to impute hours from from people who are already on staff?
Is that,
Grant.
so that suggests that the team leader has to be hired in the area chair and not someone else. Okay, so so what we're saying is that the case that okay,
I'm
fine.
sorry, I would make some noise here with my with my comment, but I don't think that team leader must be also hired. Yes, he can be hired, but yes, he can also be someone from the UC. So that person that Sylvia was mentioning just a while ago, the local point for coordinator can also be the team leader, for instance.
That was a question actually. And by the
But
way,
I'm sorry, because from my understanding from the call, we actually need to open a recruitment procedure because the area shareholder must be able to apply too. So
yes, the area shareholder. We are not.
But this is an open recruitment, so anyone eventually,
Sylvia.
also someone from the team can go there.
Yeah.
Sylvia, we are not talking about the area shareholder.
No, but the team leader can be the area shareholder.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, so
The question was whether it can be someone else that's not hired within the team. That was the question.
And can be.
Or as Elena was saying, to be very clear, can it be the coordinator? That's the question. Can it be the coordinator?
it can. It's an open recruitment call.
Open recruitment. But is the coordinator, is that, okay, then I think what Clara
But
was
in that
saying is
case, the
important.
coordinator cannot be in the commitment that selects the candidate. Of course.
Obviously. Yeah, obviously. And what else? Oh, there's an issue of contracts again. I'm sorry to go back to this. Elena and I have been discussing this for a while, many years now. Unfortunately for me, it means that I've been here for many years. This is a project, like all the projects like this, by the way. Projects should start with a team already hired. But this one is one of those projects that there's no project without team. The project is a team. So I hope that in this situation, we're able to hire people to start on day one. That means that the university will have to pre-allocate money, knowing that the call was accepted, pre-allocate money so that we can start the hiring process. Because otherwise, what we have is a project that's about a team, but it starts and then 3 months later, if we're lucky, we have a team. And that makes no sense. I mean, it makes no sense in any project, by the way, but this one is one of those projects where it really needs to be the case that the person, the group, the team, at least the hair chair, because the hair chair is going to choose, but even the team, I would say, is hired such that day one of the project, we have the team working.
Yes, you're right. And when I'm on the solutions day, one solution that I would present for that problem, and you were absolutely right, it's that we should negotiate, and other instruments, other projects have that possibility. We should negotiate with the European Commission when it is the approval, when there is an approval communication, we should negotiate the day one of the projects and have it fixed in a comfortable date for the host institution and match with the obligations of the host institution. I know in some funds and some contract funds, we can sign the contract today and fix the starting date a few months later. But because we have signed the contracts, we can open the positions, and usually that's the problem with the public institutions in Portugal. If they don't have the contract, the fund contract signed, they cannot open the positions and publish the calls. So we'll try to see if this situation is possible under ERA chair. We'll try to explore it. Yes.
I
And
believe
a final
but-
question.
Oh, just to add that I believe that will be possible because it was possible on last call. So our last ERA chair project started months after the grant agreement signature. So I believe that will be possible. But
Final question in terms of these contracts or issues about contracting. I imagine that in the team we can include things like técnicos superiores for, for instance, science communication. We can include PhD grants for PhDs, and we can include postdoc grants for postdocs. As part of the team that the ERA chair has. So, what levels can be hired? And I would assume every single level can be hired to have a real team working with the ERA shareholder and the remaining members of the team.
I will give the floor to Sylvia, but firstly, I would say that yes, you're right about setting up a team, and you need all those types of profiles. Sylvia can elaborate a little bit more about working oriented and training oriented because of the grants. She usually has that special attention when we are planning grants in projects. And there was some, Sylvia, please, I just forget, I was saying something else, but I don't know.
Yes, I believe you will be able to recruit those profiles. So this is a research. Nevertheless, I will ask our national contact point if there is some kind of limit to non-research focused staff, so administrative staff, for instance, someone to do the communication, but I believe that won't be a problem. Regarding scholarships, the European Commission accepts them if they are work-oriented. This is very hard to determine because in Portugal, our national foundation now says that our scholarships are actually oriented to training. So our fellows must be students, but the European Commission took those differences into account in this Horizon Europe program. So the rules are now very clear that we can include even students, but it is important that their participation in the project is work-oriented. And this means that perhaps you need to have deliverables where these people are actually involved. So some kind of care looking at students involved. Also regarding, for instance, the tuition fees, they are eligible too, but also if the contract is work-oriented. So this is really strange for us, but we need to check this very carefully.
Maybe you have to move on. Maybe I will ask João Fernandes, very quick.
Very quickly. I'm very sorry, I need to leave for a couple of minutes, but it was an urgency. But I have just two very quick questions. The first one is not a question, a comment. Thank you very much for organizing this. It's very important to us. So the first one is concerning the possibility to share the submission of the application by the University of Coimbra and the institution of the potential owner. Do we have an advantage on this? Is it interesting, this possibility? And the other one is sustainability, that we heard about. So what kind of information should we have in the application about sustainability? What is in fact expected to write? Thank you very much.
Okay, so regarding joint application, the idea of the Commission is to facilitate the recruitment of the ERA shareholders. So we need to check the different recruitment options. If it is, if the better option is that we recruit the ERA shareholder here, or that we establish an agreement with the currently their employer, so that it comes for certain periods, and then that entity is reimbursed for that costs. So this is actually a question that we need to check case by case, and but the idea is to facilitate that person comes to the university. So the better solution that allows the incoming of that researcher. As to sustainability, I don't know if someone, the idea is it is important to provide details, for instance, on the payment of the research team after the funding terminates. So making reference, for instance, to national granting programs to support employment. I would say so, but I'm not completely sure on this. So
it's a challenge. Yes, it's a challenge.
And also there is a compromise from the university saying that the area will be will continue, and for sure we saying tenure track position for some members of the team. So make a wish list, and this is I think should be like that. But João Teixeira, then Fernando, if you can write here, if you can write.
We still have more time for questions after the presentation by the strategic areas. Maybe we could go on with the presentations, and then we ask all the questions if that could be for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go on